Hello and welcome. I am Gimba Umar. Tonight, Nigerian military confirms over 500 Boko Haram insurgents set to commence deradicalization in Gombe after surrendering to troops, the largest number since the beginning of the program in 2015. U.S. Department of Justice slams Airpeace CEO Alan Oyema with bank fraud charges to the tune of $20 million. Airline boss denies charges, insists that he never committed bank fraud anywhere. Acclaimed author Chimamanda Adichie restates her commitment to the pursuit of gender equality after emerging as first Nigerian to win the United Nations Global Leadership Awards for her works in literature. And over 20 people die in landslides caused by flooding in Kenya's West Pokot County as severe weather threatens the region.
On Business News tonight, Central Bank's Monetary Policy Committee expected to hold interest rates at its last meeting for 2019 next week amid high inflation rate and tight liquidity.
On Sports News tonight, Jose Mourinho makes a winning return to management as Tottenham Hotspur withstand West Ham fight back in the English Premier League.
The Nigerian army says it is committed to restoring total peace to the northeast region ravaged by Boko Haram insurgency. The coordinator, Operation Safe Corridor, Major General Bamidele Shafa, says that though the fight seems to linger, the military is making steady progress. He was speaking at the opening of the Operation Safe Haven Corridor camp in Gombe State, where over 500 repentant clients will undergo deradicalization.
Surrendered Boko Haram members arriving the Gombe International Airport aboard an Air Force Hercules plane. And from here, they head to Operation Safe Corridor Camp in Malam City area of the state. The deradicalization and reorientation process begins with health checks, and they are expected to undergo various vocational trainings and psychosocial support.
Do not receive.
According to the military officials, of the over 1,000 that so far laid down their arms to the Operation Safe Corridor, 586 are entering the deradicalization camp in Gombe, the largest number since the operation started in 2015.
We expect that with this large number that we are taking is a great indication that Boko Haram combatants are surrendering to the armed forces of Nigeria. Operation Lafia Adole has been doing a great job in the last couple of days, and it is the impact that we are seeing. Over 1,000 of them have surrendered. And what we keep on telling the boys, those who are still in the bush, is to come out and take advantage of the opportunity that the federal government, the President, Commander-in-Chief, President Muhammadu Buhari, has given to them to surrender and embrace peace. So with this, what we are seeing is that the armed forces of Nigeria is making steady gains in the fight against insurgency in the northeast.
Two members of this batch explain why they chose the path of change.
Members of Boko Haram came to our village after preaching. They threatened to kill our parents if we refused to join them. That's how I joined. But after spending years with them, we noticed serious divisions among the leaders, which kept us wondering if this is of God. And finally, when we got a window, we surrendered to the Nigerian military.
Since they took us away, I have been praying for deliverance, and finally it came when I got the window of escape. I and my son trekked for 11 days before we could board a car that brought us to Yobe State, where we submitted to the security forces. I have never participated in any of their activities. I pray to be united with my family.
The war against insurgency may not be over now. The Nigerian military appears poised to continue deploying new strategies to totally bring the fight to an end.
Outside of Nigeria, the United States Department of Justice, Northern District of Georgia, has charged the Chief Executive Officer of domestic carrier Air Peace, Alan Oyema, with bank fraud and money laundering to the tune of $20 million. The airline's Chief of Administration and Finance, Ejirogene Egaga, is also accused of alleged aggravated identity theft in connection with the scheme. According to a report published on the Justice official website of the U.S. Department of Justice, Oyema, together with Egaga, allegedly used a series of export letters of credit to cause banks to transfer more than $20 million into Atlanta-based banks' accounts, allegedly controlled by Mr. Oyema. The letters of credit were reportedly to fund the purchase of 5 separate Boeing 737 passenger planes by Air Peace, supported by documents such as purchase agreements, bills of sale, and appraisal proving that Air Peace was purchasing the aircraft from Springfield Aviation Company, LLC, a business registered in Georgia and allegedly owned by Oyema. However, Justice Department says that the indictment only contains charges and the accused persons are presumed innocent until proven otherwise at a trial by the U.S. government. Meanwhile, in a press statement issued by his lawyer, Mr. Oyema denied the fraud allegations, saying that they are false and do not reflect his personality as a business owner. In the words of the Air Peace CEO, "I never laundered money in my life. Never have I committed bank fraud anywhere in the world. Every kobo I transferred to the US for aircraft purchase went through the Central Bank of Nigeria, and all were used for the same purpose." He further says that he is innocent of all the charges and the US government will find out no dirt on him because he has never conducted any illegal business. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, says that it is deepening its network with the international community in order to effectively combat financial crimes. Speaking on the sidelines of the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission training in Abuja, the acting chairman of the EFCC maintains that such network is needed to effectively combat a borderless crime like financial corruption.
We are willing to partner with all nations in the fight against corruption, and the credit should go to the president, who has an outstanding, no reservation for zero tolerance in corruption. Well, there is a process going on to sign an MOU with South Africans that we can just walk into South Africa if you have stolen anything here, and you go and hide them there. They will help us. And if you have anything you have removed from South Africa unlawfully, you bring to Nigeria, there will be no problem. We'll help them to do it. So we are trying to make it's a borderless crime. There is no hiding place for anybody, any looter in particular. You cannot go and enjoy your ill-gotten wealth. That is why the idea of flaunting recklessly the ill-gotten wealth has actually gone. That's why you don't find people throwing reckless parties in Europe or in South Africa. In those days, they will block the road and they will take over the whole hotels, particularly in London. When they block everything, they will park their cars. So it has stopped. We have succeeded in that. It's no longer business as usual.
Acclaimed author Chimamanda Adichie has been speaking on her resolve to continue her campaign for gender equality through her writings. The literary icon said this after emerging as the first Nigerian to be honored with the United Nations Foundation's Global Leadership Award for her works in literature. She receives this recognition at this year's event hosted by the UN Foundation in New York, which was attended, of course, by global leaders who are world change agents.
Lively scenes in New York City, the host of the United Nations Global Leadership Award. The whole comes alive as Nigeria's own and author Chimamanda Adichie emerges a recipient of the award. Chimamanda is honored for her works in literature and storytelling, connecting with people across generations and cultures on issues of gender and social equality. UN dignitaries give insight into the significance of the award.
Well, I think it's amazing. I mean, Chimamanda is an inspiration to even we oldies. So receiving it so young is really just a demonstration of what young people can do. But you know, her words are deep. They are meaningful. They're etched in many people's hearts and minds because they resonate. She's just an amazing person, terribly gifted, and I'm very proud as a fellow Nigerian.
The renowned writer shows appreciation for the honor.
You know, the thing about being recognized is that this is not the reason one does what one does, but it's always wonderful to get that validation because it means that somebody's saying to you what you're doing matters, and it's a wonderful feeling.
She is a compelling and singular voice for our common humanity, and she deconstructs in her stories all the isms that dehumanize us and help us question those isms. And she conveys deep love of her country and of her people in a way that it gets shared with all of us when we read her story. So I was very honored to get to present this very deserved award to her tonight.
We the peoples of the succeeding generation.
The Global Leadership Award dinner comes ahead of the UN's 75th anniversary themed We the People.
We believe in the world as it should.
At the backstage, Chimamanda reiterates her call for gender equality.
I've been a feminist my whole life. I was a feminist before I knew what the word meant, which is simply that I was a little girl who was very much aware that the world was just different in the way it treated girls and the way it treated boys, and that girls didn't get quite the same dignity and the same room not just to grow but room to fail as boys and men did. But also I knew it didn't mean that boys and men had perfect lives. It just meant that being born female exposed you to specific deprivations because you were born female.
Chimamanda is the first Nigerian to receive the UN Foundation Global Leadership Award, joining the list with previous recipients such as former US President Barack Obama and Bill Clinton, renowned talk show host and philanthropist Oprah Winfrey, and the late UN Secretary General Kofi Annan.
Inspirational to the letter. In part two, after the break, People's Democratic Party calls on President Muhammad Buhari to address the issues of violence during elections, says issue of third term is dead. Stay with us.